Good evening, everybody. Welcome live to the pits of Motor Chaos with Zeros Dave. Got online special guest, the Volcano Jet Dragster driver, Chuck Haynes. Hey, Chuck.
Hey, how you doing?
So let's go back and rewind the clock, Chuck. How did you get into drag racing in the first place, and what year?
Well, I got into it about 93. Was my first year, and the reason was pretty much a fluke why and how we got into jet car racing. Went to an air show in 92, and they had a jet car performing along with the Blue Angels, and they had the jet car run down the racetrack, or down the airstrip, and telling everybody it just run 300 and yada yada yada, and everybody was so impressed with the jet car, even more so over the Blue Angels. And I thought, this is I've never been a big jet car fan, but this looks like it might be a way of making some money and going fast and having some fun. So I didn't have the money to buy a jet car at that time. So I went to the government SBA Loan Association, and actually it took a year of paperwork, but I got an SBA loan to buy my first car. So that's how it all started.
Wow. So how many jets have you owned since that first one?
Well, 4 total. I'm down to 1 now, and we've cut back on our scheduling quite a bit. I sold this car and another car, Gravity Storm, to the racetracks down in Perth, and Gary Mielsich purchased it from us, and unfortunately the Gravity Storm crashed on Saturday night before the sale could be completed on Monday. The paperwork was all drawn up, and the last run of the night, we had a shoot issue. Kurt White was driving, and not Kurt White, I'm sorry, Peter was driving for us, and he had a shoot problem, and didn't think he had a shoot, so he was trying to find the secondary shoot instead of just pulling the lever, and he ended up going off the end of the track and up through the safety barriers into the last one, which was a row of tires chained together and then a sand embankment behind it. So he got into that sand embankment behind it. The motor came forward, broke off at the fuel tanks, of course. Car started on fire. Their sand stop was really good. Too good, really, because they couldn't get the fire trucks in to put the fire out in the car because it was got stuck in the sand traps. So they had to carry all the fire extinguishers up to Peter DeWitt to get the fire out. And then it took us about 45 minutes of getting him cut out of the car. Thank God he came out of it okay. He had a pretty big burn on his back and a broken nose and a cracked kneecap. But all in all, he came out of it in pretty good shape. And is back driving again down in Australia. And so that's kind of what happened. At that point, I had an offer to buy the rest of the other car and all the equipment from the same people that were going to buy it before, with the understanding that they'd bring my wife and I back down every year to do the mechanicking and drive. And so we did that for 5 years, and then he got sick, and so he passed away, and we ended up buying the remaining car back and brought it back to the States 2 years ago.
And it's Volcano.
Yes,
So how was it? How was it up in Australia driving?
How was it? It was great. We did it for about 26 years. Every year go over in the winter, and sometimes we'd run as many as 10 different tracks or races. And recently they were down to about 4 or 5 a year. But it was a great time. Absolutely. Timing is everything, and luck played a big part in how I got into it, and how I got down to Australia was simply being at the right place at the right time and getting along with people real well in different racetracks. And yeah, it just worked out really well in my favor, I think. Got to see a lot of different countries. Prince Faisal in Saudi Arabia invited us down to the grand opening of their brand new racetrack facility. So we sent the cars down to Saudi Arabia, and then we flew down and had a great time. Beautiful, beautiful track. And yeah, rest is kind of history.
Wow, that's nice that you got to go to Saudi Arabia and Australia like that, though, man. But how was Australia? Beautiful?
It's very different wherever you go. I mean, you have the west coast of Australia is beautiful, but it's more of a dry kind of country, rolling hills and sagebrush and that type of thing. But an absolute beautiful city. People are absolutely fantastic. A lot of fun things to do there. And then you can go to the other coast and run the east coast, and then you go up clear. We ran up all the way up past all over the barrier reef, so we got to go out on that several times. One of the trips we went over to Tasmania and got to tour around Tassie, and that was neat. All different. You know, no matter where you went, it was a different area.
So how's Saudi Arabia?
Saudi Arabia was really different. As Americans, we weren't particularly well thought of, but they still treated us good. They treated the Aussies a little better. Gary Milosevic drove the Gravity Storm car there, and pretty short shutdown. It was pretty unique. You wouldn't even go out to the racetrack at all until about 10 o'clock in the evening because it was so hot in the daytime. So our first round, I think, was probably about 1 o'clock in the morning, and it's the only way you could stand the heat. And then we were done by about 5 o'clock and loaded the cars in the container and headed back to the motel about 7 o'clock in the morning, and then we flew out of there that night. So it was quite an experience. Wow.
So now with the Inferno jet dragster, what's been the quickest pass you've made with that jet?
I'm sorry, I couldn't quite follow that, Dave.
With the Inferno jet dragster, what's been the quickest pass you've made with that jet?
The quickest pass that I have ever done was actually in Woodburn, Oregon. And that was a 4.95 ET, and the highest mile an hour I'd done is 319 point something, and that was at Perth, Australia, which that track is absolutely gorgeous, beautiful track, and yeah, brand new at that time. So yeah, we have some good times. We've kind of cut things back a little bit now, doing about 5-6 events a year. When you live out in Montana, you got to travel so far to get to racetracks. Of course, we have a very nice one that's built here in Billings, outside of Billings, in Acton, which is 16 miles from the house, Yellowstone drag strip. So we do have one track that we get to run at that's close, and it's a beautiful track, state-of-the-art polymer, asphalt, very, very nice facility.
So far this year, how many events have you ran?
Well, so far this year we ran three, I think. We ran Vandermeers, Jet Car Nationals. We came up the next day and ran the 4th of July in Billings. And we've also ran first weekend in June a little town called Malta, Montana. Beautiful little 8-mile track, IHR track. We ran there. Our next event now will be up in Edmonton, hot August nights. Great event. It's on a Wednesday night. And whoever thought that a Wednesday night drag race would be so popular, but they've been doing it for so many years. It's just a sellout kind of deal, and they give them a hell of a show.
So how many jets do they bring in there?
It varies. Usually around 6 to 8, and then they'll have a wheel standers and different featured vehicles along with us.
Now, how many jets were at the Jet Car Nationals?
You know, I never counted, but I would say probably 8 or 9.
So how'd you do up there?
Well, with the garden, we had one of those computer glitches, you know. NHRA has had us change all our cars to where they have automatic shutdown systems. And we had one of those glitches where, for no reason at all, the system would shut off, pop the chutes, and so we didn't do very well. We sucked. But we got home and put in a new computer, and it works. Been working great ever since.
So now, what kind of engine are you using? What kind of jet engine?
We run the Pratt & Whitney J60.
Now, what kind of fuel are you using?
We usually use kerosene, basically. Jet fuel itself is pretty hard to get, and kerosene is right on the same level as cracker refinements. So we try to run kerosene whenever we can.
So
that same fuel the truckers use in the summer or winter time. So a thin diesel, basically.
Now, with the fire show in the past, how many gallons of kerosene you burned up?
Well, the cars hold about 22 gallons in each tank. We don't fill the tanks, obviously, for each run, but we probably average 15, 16 gallons per run with the fire show.
All right. Now, do you do any airport shows?
We haven't for a long time. We did do some in the past. Love doing the airport shows, and there again, it's gotten hard to get into them. The airport shows prefer the high-profile vehicles, such as a semi-truck or that kind of thing. Something that's more visible than a dragster or a funny car. Yeah, it's just one of those things that, you know, things change, and yeah, I understand where they come from, but it's sure fun to do them. We did one in Billings and one in Helena. I think we did a second one in Billings. They're obviously a lot of fun. Just very hard to get into them. And then you have to carry a $1 million insurance policy to be able to run with those shows. And that gets a little pricey in itself.
So now, Chuck, after all the years of doing this jet car thing, what still keeps you passionate about doing it?
I still like doing it. Just still get a thrill out of it. Enjoy driving. The car that I got now is built by Keith Jackson out of Denver, and it's not as sleek as the Bill Mateo cars. Obviously, the Mateo cars are, in my opinion, the finest out there. But with the changes that NHRA have come in with the safety shutoff devices, and this car I sit a little more upright instead of weighing down. It slowed the car down a little bit. It's the exact same engine that was in Volcano when it ran the 495 at 319. It's just the chassis is a little heavier, and the aerodynamics aren't quite as good. But it's so easy to drive because I can see much better than the old cars. The lay-down cars were I couldn't see the front wheels and tires even. But they sure were a nice car. If Mattel ever built another one, I'd buy it in a heartbeat.
So when you first started jet car driving, did you get any advice from any other jet car drivers out there?
Did I get a lot of what, sir?
No, I said, did you get any advice from other jet car drivers when you first got into jet car?
It was there wasn't a lot of people that were willing to give secrets up and advice and that kind of thing. It's purely ironic that I went to Edmonton's Hot August Nights that year, first year that I ran, and I was about fourth pair back, and there were two jet funny cars that were going in front of me, and one of them was Lynn Redeman, and unfortunately for him, he crashed on that run. He was actually scheduled to go to Australia, and he obviously couldn't make it. So we got to fill in for him, and that's how I got into Australia. So being at the right place at the right time seems to help.
So now, where did you get your jet car license? What track were you on when you got your jet car license?
Well, at the time that I got mine, NHRA was pretty strict on them, and I picked the car up from Mateo at Great Lakes Dragway, Union Grove, and the first you have to have 4 runs for 3 days, and the first two can be witnessed at that time by 2 other jet car drivers that were currently listed. And the last run or session, the third session, you had to pay to have a NHRA that was in the jet car program, an actual division guy, come in and sign off on your last set of runs. So they're a lot harder to get than most licenses.
Wow, Great Lakes Dragway. That's my local track. I'm like 30 minutes from Great Lakes Dragway.
I'm sorry.
You said Great Lakes Dragway. I said that's my local track. I'm like 30 minutes away from Great Lakes Dragway.
Oh yeah. That was the deal where we rented the track and then had to bring the guy in from. Well, he'd actually been in Indy and came from Indy over to your area, and we did the licensing there for 3 days, and it was good. Learned a lot of things there. A couple of the other jet car guys helped me license there. They were very good to me. Dennis Kozlensky and sorry, can't remember. Billy Lutz helped sign my license. So good guys, respect them. Thank a lot of them for helping me out. All good.
Yeah, I just saw Dennis Rolansky on the end of June at Great Lakes Dragway. He went for the Night of Fire. I saw Dennis running up there with the Crossfire jet. Yeah, we had about 9 jets up there for the Night of Fire at Great Lakes Dragway.
Yeah.
You think?
I never did get to meet Broadway Bob. He wasn't there that weekend. Unfortunately, I'd like to admit it. Seems like a pretty character guy.
You think you'd ever come up and run at Great Lakes Dragway?
Who knows what tomorrow will bring. And see how this year ends up, and we'll look at next year, see how far we want to travel. be fun to go and run for Bill Bader's deal. That would be fun.
So now, what was the experience like for you to drive a jet car for the first time ever?
Well, you started out, with no afterburner, and you make half track passes with no afterburner, and then you go 3/4 track with no afterburner, and you go full runs with no afterburner, and that's your first session for us. It was anyway. And then the next day you come in and you do half track with burner and work it down to where you're running full track with burner. And then the next day is when the NHRA inspector was there, and that's when you did your shit, and he signed off on your license. It was a lot more difficult then than it is today. But it's all worked out good.
Now, when you started jet car driving, were there any drivers out there that inspired you at all?
No, not really. But there again, like I said, Dennis and Billy Lutz, they really came over and helped out, get everything done that weekend. So I appreciate them.
No. Now you got some junior dragsters in the family, huh?
Yeah, we got two granddaughters that are in them, and we've got a grandson that's working hard, and he races pro out there, our track, and so yeah, try to keep it going.
Who knows? Maybe one day one of those granddaughters will be driving a jet car. You never know.
Well, we already got a grandson that wants me to kick the bucket so he can get in. But my wife is next. She's been licensed for a number of years, and we just got to get her back in. In fact, we'll probably do that this year again. Get her back in.
So
that'll take a lot of pressure off of us.
So your wife will take over the driving for you?
I'm sorry?
Your wife will take over the driving of the jet for you?
Yeah, she has. Yeah, she's got her license. And the interesting part of that is her license number is J60, which same engine we're running.
So now when you go out with the jet car, how many crew members you have? Your wife? Anybody else?
How many what, Dave?
Crew members.
Oh, when we were running two cars at one time, it was pretty hectic. We had two cars in a single tag trailer, and we usually ended up picking up help at the local tracks. We've been there enough, and we got friends that would come out and give us a hand. So that was always nice too. So if we couldn't bring anybody, well then we'd get people that we know at the track and give us a hand. And we come up. We're going to Edmonton on it's the 12th. And Ryan McQueen will come out and give us a hand. He helped us last year. And then Billings, being hometown, you got more help than you could use.
So your wife is always your main crew member?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she's always there, and has done it all with me. I mean, fuel controls, hot ends, whatever.
Does she pack the chutes?
She will. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, you bet.
All right. So now, Chuck, when you're out on the track, on the starting line with the jet, do you have any pre-run rituals or superstitions when you're out there with the jet?
No, I don't try to have any superstitions or anything. I try to be consistent and do the same every run, and hopefully it all goes like it should every run. The critical part of those are always the stopping area and parachutes, and the biggest reason that jet cars crash is because the drivers panic and get on the brakes, and that makes those cars turn one way or another, and once they start turning, you can't stop them. That's probably the toughest thing to teach new drivers. Don't use your brakes until the chutes are out and the car is settled down, and then the brakes are fine. But we like to run them tracks that you don't even touch the brakes in the braking area because they're long enough you don't need to.
Now, in all the years that you've been doing the jet car driving, now have you had any accidents?
I have had several of them, all chute-related problems. Had one burn out or come out of a can off the starting line, and of course, by the time the finish line was there, it was no chute. So you got to, at that time, you had to hit the second lever to deploy the chute, and it was so rough that I couldn't get on the second lever. Ended up going into a farmer's fence and missing a big tree down at the end, and just kind of rolled it over onto its top. Got out, and everything was fine. Had to do a little straightening on the chassis, but all was well.
Now, do you have any sponsors?
Any what, sir?
Any sponsors at all?
I really don't. I'd like to have, but I really look at it as, other than the local guys that help us out with some stuff, welding and signs and lettering and that kind of thing, to get any sponsorships, you really need to be able to provide them with TV time to make it worth their while. And if you don't have TV time, it's very tough to get much for other than product sponsors.
All right. So now, what are some of your favorite tracks to run on?
Well, they're all. I mean, over the years, I've got to respect all of them. Love Edmonton, because that was the first racetrack I ever ran in competition, and I ran 3:11 there one year, and that's an IHRA track. Well, the speed limit was 3:10, so got my hand slapped for that. But that's always a great event. Love running Billings. I get to see a lot of friends and family and people I went to school with, that kind of thing. Vandermeer's has always been one of our favorites. Just a great family, great people, and just a great working relationship with the Vandermeer's. So it's hard to really say which are favorites. I guess some of them you have better luck at, and some of them you've had bad luck at. So it just depends on how it goes that weekend. Some of them you're snake bit from the minute you get there, and if it isn't rain, it's something else. And so it's a little part of the deal. Yeah, I guess if it was easy, everybody'd do it.
Yep. Now, Chuck, what kind of preparation goes into getting the jet ready for a weekend of racing?
Well, we go around and obviously look for cracks, and it mainly cracks in the tailpipe, because that's probably one of the higher maintenance items, and it's hard to get them welded up once you're at the track, because it takes a TIG welder to do it. And I will admit that I'm not much of a TIG welder. So it's just getting chutes checked all out, going around doing a nut bolt check on all of the fittings and critical chassis parts. And then the rest of it just depends on what's gone wrong the race before. Hopefully nothing, and you don't have a lot to do. There's other times we've come back and had to replace a hot end in the engine, and had to get it done and be back on the road in 3 days, and that gets a little tough. It's not as easy to tear down one and put it back together as a top fuel car is. It takes us, by the time you safety wire all the nuts and bolts and inside, it's quite time consuming.
Now, do you prefer the quarter mile or the eighth mile?
Oh, I like them both. The quarter, that's what we all grew up with, and so that's the one you kind of prefer. But 8 mile's fun too. They're both fun. 8 mile, you got to be a little sharper because you don't have as much time to catch them if you're late.
Now, where do you get all your fire safety equipment from?
A company out of Seattle, and they just make the nicest suits and stuff. Design 500 is who they are, and I've been using those guys for the last 15, 20 years. And between him and Dennis Taylor, makes some very nice stuff, like his stuff. And Simpson, we get shoots from Simpson and Dennis Taylor, so that gives us a pretty good selection of what we need.
Now, what would you consider to be some of the milestones of your jet racing career?
Well, I'd have to say the one that sticks probably most in my mind is the race that I bought Volcano from Bill Mateo, and he had a booking for that in Indiana, I think it was. So we picked the car up in Billy, and I'd never driven the car before. And we went to this track in Indiana, and I raced Billy Lutz first round, and I'd never driven the car. And Billy went and kind of kept an eye on it and everything. And the first run of the night, I had never been 300 mile an hour, so I was hoping to be 3. And I ran Billy Lutz, and I knew quite a way. I'm pretty sure that I had gotten out on him, and we got the other end, and we're getting pulled back, and I'm in the car trying to read the time slip, and I looked at the time slip, and it was read it down through, and I saw my name, and I saw Billy's speed, and his was like 305, and I looked at mine, and it was like 313, and I'd never ever gone over 300, so that was pretty cool.
Wow, that is pretty cool.
Yeah, it was just a really neat car that he built, and he's just the smartest guy out there, I think, as far as jet cars go.
Yeah, I've seen Billy Lutz run over the past 5-6 years. He was running one of Danny Sullivan's jets.
Yep.
Yeah, but he's not doing nothing no more.
I haven't seen him in a long time. I talked to him, but it was Mateo that built that car Volcano, and it was wickedly fast and quick.
All right, I'm going to ask you a few fun questions here. You ready, Chuck? Outside of jet cars, you have any other hobbies?
I like to go boating and fishing, just don't have much time to do it.
What kind of fish you like to fish for?
Trout. rainbows. We just, it just seems like there's so many things to do anymore that between going and watching the grandkids race out here, or it's time gets short, especially summertime. Though we really don't have a long summer. This year, it's finally gotten warm. It's middle of July almost, and come Labor Day weekend, everybody starts pulling in their boats and giving summer up. So it doesn't give you a long time to do much else.
Right. So now, Chuck, if you were able to do time traveling and go backwards in time, would you do anything differently with your jet career?
Nope. I don't think I'd change anything. The worst thing that happened in my life is I had bought a car, and it was named Pacifier, and I wanted to buy the Volcano car from Bill Mateo, and I had to buy this Pacifier car because Mateo wasn't ready to sell it the year before, and the year before I had made commitments to take 2 cars to Australia. So I had to hurry out and get another car. Well, we ran that one season, and then the following year, Billy Mateo decided to sell me the car, and so I bought it, and then I had the other car up for sale, Pacifier. I sold it to a very good friend of mine, an alcohol racer by the name of Jet Field, and he ran it. I trained him. He ran it a year, and then on the 4th of July, over in Spokane Raceway, they were the last run of the night, and he blew a parachute. We believe he blew a parachute on the last run, and rather than pull the secondary chute, he got on the brakes, and the car went up. There was no guardrail past the finish line, so the car went up on this kind of a hill of dirt and took his life. And always feel guilty for that. Hate to see that happen. A great guy.
Wow. Yeah, you hate to see anybody lose their life like that.
No. Yeah, it was sad. So that's about it, Dad.
All right. So, what is your favorite food to eat, Chuck?
What is my what?
What's your favorite food you like to eat?
Oh, lobster, of course.
Now, does your wife cook?
Does she cook?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's your
cook.
what's your favorite dish that the wife makes?
Several of them that are really good. We had smoked pork chops last night. We like Mexican of all types. Not picky. Nice steak is good.
All right. Now, what is your favorite beverage to drink?
Depends on what time of night it is. Probably a Bud Light. And then a glass of wine as a nightcap, probably.
And what about non-alcoholic? What's your favorite drink?
I'm sorry?
What about as far as non-alcoholic? What's your favorite drink?
Oh, I drink lots of water. And sometimes I drink low-calorie Gatorade. And that about covers it. Not much in the soda pop.
Now, when you're at the track with the jet card, do you eat very lightly or do you eat regularly?
We don't eat much when we're racing. Normally, we go out to the tracks mid-afternoon and might have something on the way out or split a burger or something, but don't eat much on race day.
So maybe after the race day is done, then you maybe go eat.
Yeah. And if there's friends in town, we'll go sit out on patio and maybe pick up some baby back ribs and things like that. All easy.
So, what's your favorite type of music to listen to?
I'm a huge Buffett fan, Jimmy Buffett, and I like early rock and roll. I like earlier country. Just gotta change every now and then, you know. But yeah, pretty simple.
Now, can you think of one embarrassing moment you had when you're out on the track with the jet?
Oh, had lots of embarrassing moments.
Well, which one stands out to you?
The most?
Yeah.
Well, in Saudi Arabia, women or females are not allowed at sporting events. So it's this new track that they built. They have a men's room in it. It's outside of the workshop area in the scrutineering area, which is where we worked on the cars. Well, you had to go a wee way. We walked up these steps, and there's no door on the restroom. And then there's this big trough that is on the right. It's all marble and beautiful, and drains and hose bibs up on top, and little hoses coming down and that kind of thing. Well, I figured that was the urinal. Well, come to find out, it was not a urinal at all. It's that's where they go wash their feet before prayer.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I feel fortunate to still have a dick on.
Yeah. Yeah. That's terrible.
Yeah. You find out on the way back to your hotel, what you thought was a urinal wasn't a urinal at all. Hell, nobody told us that.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be embarrassing. Yeah. So now, Chuck, for people, if they want to follow you, like where you're going to be at, what's the best way to the Haynes Racing page on Facebook?
Well, we got pretty slack in the last few years about posting on Facebook, and we do have an account. It's just Haynes Jet Racing. We just have gotten lazy as far as keeping people posted and what's up, and we'll try a little harder next year. This year was kind of a come back year and get our ducks in a row again, and so we had to start all over. We had to buy a different trailer because I sold everything that I had when I sold out to Australia. I sold my race trailer, my Kodiak truck. I sold everything we had. So we've kind of had to start all over, and we're just kind of getting that all figured out and how we want it. And we'll get back on top of that here for next year for sure.
Well, thank you very much for taking time to do an interview, Chuck.
I appreciate your call.
You have any final words or thank yous, anything you want to do before we close?
No, not really. Just love to see people come see us.
Yep. So when is the next event again?
We're going to be this summer. We've got Hot August nights, August 12th, I think it is. It's a Wednesday night in Edmonton, and then we run back in Billings on August, weekend after, so it's like 17th or so. We run back out here at Yellowstone Dragster, and that should be our last event of the year, unless somebody changes their mind and wants us to be somewhere. We'll be available for Labor Day weekend this year, but yeah, we'll have a good year. It'll be all good.
Awesome. Well, I wish you the best of luck with the last two events that you have scheduled.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
You have a great night, Chuck.
You too, Dave.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.